Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lila and Naomi's Year of Expansion. I don't know what week this is yet again, because that's one of my superpowers.
We'll get it worked out.
We will. And this week we are continuing a previous conversation about letting our yeses be hell yeses and our no's be solid, absolute, confident no's. And it is stemmed by an adventure, or sparked, I guess, by an adventure that I had yesterday with being invited to, well, I signed up for a call. And I don't remember what the call was, but it sounded fascinating at the time that I signed up for it. And then it did not make its way onto my calendar, and I missed it. And the friend co-hosting the call messaged me and said, "Hey, I noticed that you missed the call. When is a good time this week for us to connect?" And I said, "There isn't one. I can let you know when I have a little bit more energy, perhaps sometime next week, when we can get together and talk." And she said, "Well, the program starts on Sunday, so it would be optimal for you to find some bandwidth this week for the conversation." And I said, "In that case, I'll pass." And that is humongous, huge, immense, and massive. Because if you listened to the previous conversation, I said no when I meant no to joining the coaching program that I would have loved to have joined. I saw the benefit of it. However, at the price point that it was at, it just did not work with my financial plans at the moment. And I didn't tell the coach no in the moment. And then I had to convince myself that it was okay to tell her no. And there was mind chatter and a little bit of processing with Naomi. And it was all great, wonderful growth experiences. And yesterday, when I typed out those words, "In that case, I'll pass. Thank you for thinking of me," and then had to step back and kind of take a deep breath and be in amazement that there was no mind chatter. It was just a complete confident, "No, thank you." I wasn't worried about hurting her feelings. I wasn't wondering if she was still going to like me. It's just like, "No, I'm good." So that's pretty awesome. And it's only been, what, a couple weeks? Was that 2 or 3 weeks ago when we had this conversation?
Yeah, I don't think it was any more than that. Yeah, it was very recent.
I'm proud of myself. I think I need to cook you.
Oh, the health coach in me cringes that food is a reward. But okay, I also know that for you, a cookie
so
is
bad.
a cookie.
Right.
Well, I know for you, a cookie is a cookie. It's not the whole box, and you're not having a cookie because you deprive yourself of cookies all the rest of the time. So
no, and I'm not having a cookie. My body was just like, "You're insane. We don't want a cookie." But yeah, food does reward bad idea.
for most
looking
people,
for
yes.
other rewards. I'm looking for other rewards. It's not a good idea for me either, even though I don't have a weight thing. I have an allergy thing. Not good to be like, "Oh, here, feed yourself sugar."
Eat all the stuff that makes you feel like crap.
Yeah,
that's probably a different conversation for a different day. And it's
back to I know.
Everything about that is so juicy. First of all, just the fact that you were like, there wasn't this, "Oh my God, I missed the call, blah, blah, blah. Now I have to do it." And you chose to, number one, honor your energy and your schedule. I don't have time. Instead of trying to jump through a crazy hoop and contort and make it happen because of guilt over missing the call or whatever could have happened. Because I don't know if anybody else listening to this has ever done that, but I know I have. Because I feel like I have to. And, oh, crap, and I'm obligated, and shame on me, and all the stuff. Even if putting into the calendar this week doesn't feel like a hell yes, now I feel like I have to, and I should, and I'm bad if I don't. So I let something that isn't a hell yes make me put it in Thursday at 1:45, even though I've got something till 1:30 and something that starts at 2, and oh my god,
I've never done that.
Oh, really? Look at you, who rise above the rest of us.
Translation. I have a master's degree in that.
Right. Yeah. I cut the internal eye roll on it, even though we're not visual today. But so that's one thing right there is you honored your body, you honored your time, without the guilt that could come with taking what's a no and making it an okay. So you're like, yeah, it's not a hell yes this week, so that's not happening.
Right. Absolutely.
And so what do you think made it different? Because like you had said that you then were, after you responded in that case, thanks for thinking of me, but gonna pass. And then you're like waiting for the mind chatter. Okay, where's the chatter? Where's that tight feeling and that twistiness that can come? Is it? Okay, I'm waiting. Wait, there's none of that. What made it different to respond with just a no thank you and being solid in that without all the extraneous?
I am going to credit, I have a friend's voice in my head right now, but I'm going to say this anyway. I am going to credit the years of work I've been doing around this. And not to discourage you, it may not be years for you. For me, it was years, but it was years because I wasn't doing it consciously the whole entire time. I remember saying yes. They were saying no to a coach joining her program 8 years ago, maybe. And the funny thing about this experience is I did not realize I was getting on a sales call when I got on the call with her. I'm not sure what I thought we were doing, but I was not aware that it was a sales call, and I had no idea about this program before we got on the phone.
I've been on those calls. I don't like them. I feel ambushed.
And yet, I was like, oh, wait, what? Huh? Accountability for saying yes to myself? I don't think that's, no. And it was an obvious no for me, but I wasn't able to just say no. Like, I didn't even know this is what we were doing, and absolutely not. My financial situation says that this is a no, period. And I'm gonna be that soapboxy person that says that in the coaching industry, people hear a lot that you have to invest in yourself. And for some people, selling all of the furniture in their house so they could pay for this coaching program because they know it is going to change their lives is one thing. Like, I have full faith and confidence in this, so I'm going to do it. But doing it because your coach suggests that you do can be a recipe for disaster. Like, I feel like if you didn't get that internal conviction for yourself to do it, probably not yours to do. So I didn't have an internal yes that said overextend and invest in this program. And So I said no, but I said no with all of the mind chatter and, oh my God, is she going to like me still? And this was somebody whose work I admired and respected. And so I'm like, am I going to be allowed back on the coaching playground if I tell her no? And going from there to saying yes when I knew I wanted the results, but I wasn't sure I could afford the program. And I wasn't sure that I was in a space where I should have been focused on that. I wasn't. I was veritably homeless with 3 children. Probably should have done something else with time, energy, and money I spent on that program. But it was a great part of my PhD in life. I learned a lot. So said yes. Got 3/4 of the way through the program, ran out of money for it, couldn't afford it, threw my bank account into overdraft, ended up having that bank account closed, going into collections. In the banking system, when you go into collections, there's nothing you can do about that for 5 years unless the bank you went into collections with is willing to take it off the system for you. You can't go like you can with other credit reports and like dispute that. So I was in check systems for 5 years and could only get a checking account that cost me a monthly fee. The whole shebang, all because I did not honor my no and just say no. So all of those lessons and all of that work that I did to be like, being on the phone with a coach whose program I couldn't afford and who knew I couldn't afford the program and who said to me, you need to make more money. Not out of a, like, you need to make more money so that you can afford my program kind of space, but like, you don't need to invest in this program. You need to make more money where you are right now. And it's okay. And let your yes be yes and your no be no. And being like, damn, I love you. Like, all of that is what let this no thank you be so solid.
So there's so many things that came up as you talked about that. And one of those things is something I want to bring up for the people who are listening to take a look at for themselves if they find themselves ever in a place where they're maybe either neutral on the subject or they're kind of getting the nudge that it's a no, but they're starting to lean towards yes because of an obligation, is what have your past yeses that were really no's cost you? I mean, you personally are seeing it, you know, your illustration shows the very tangible monetary way it cost you. 5 years of banking pain in the ass, you know?
5 years of banking pain in the ass. Yes, my bank is inside of Walmart. The only time I could access my bank, I say could because I am now with a credit union. I'm super stoked about that life. But the only time I could access the bank was to go inside of Walmart, which I never want to do. Walmart, don't want to go in there.
Right. So not only did it cost you financially, it cost you something from an integrity standpoint because you're like, I don't step foot in that store, and boom, guess where you are.
Yeah, I mean, it's less of that than like I can't just drive up to an ATM or I can't just like go to the bank. I shop at Walmart. I don't love to and I don't always, but I will. But to have to go in Walmart, not just in the bank, but to have to go inside of Walmart every time I want to bank. Was bothersome.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So it cost me energy and it cost me time. It cost me all of the thinking about, oh God, I have to go inside Walmart. It cost me however much money I spent on money orders because I would rather go to the post office behind the day job than to go to Walmart and pull money out.
Right. So, yeah. So there's a lot of things from an economic standpoint that it costs you. Sometimes our yeses that should have been nos can cost other things too. They can cost relationships. They can cost time. They can cost our sanity and or peace of mind. I say sanity as though it's flipped, but sometimes truly our sanity. It can throw us into depression. There's a lot of things that saying it can cause disease and illness.
Yeah.
Is my belief.
Lots
because
of
it gets
time.
all twisty.
Most of the time it affected my relationship with myself. I had a roommate / lover that asked me if he could borrow. It started with, can I borrow $100? I'll pay you back next week. And having not paid that $100 back, hey, can I borrow $100? To the tune of $1,800 over the course of that spring. Oof. And I felt no every other time I gave him money after that. But I'm living here and I don't want to be uncomfortable in my space because I told him no. So let me just give him the money. I don't want him to be mad at me. This is his house. I don't have a lease. He can kick me out. So let me just give him the money. I ended up getting kicked out anyway. So I got kicked out. It cost me $1,800 and some of my dignity, and I'm mad at myself. And I'm just walking around furious in general because I'm also pissed off at him. Yeah.
Right?
Lots. It costs lots.
And the bottom line is a no is a boundary, whether it's a boundary we've set for ourselves or with someone else. One of the things that I started talking about and teaching when I do my workshop locally on the fraud of busy is really helping people to see and understand that it's okay to not just automatically jump into things, especially when it comes to programs and things like that. Oftentimes people are like, I reward quick action takers. Well, that's great. Not everybody is wired to make a quick decision.
Yeah.
So in some ways that's kind of a bummer because you're telling somebody, I want you to go against your nature and decide right now.
Yeah.
And there are times when I will offer a quick action bonus for a program, that type of thing. But sometimes that is a piece that I dislike because I also want to make sure that if somebody, for me personally, I want to make sure people are in my programs with no buyer's remorse.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to use really piss poor languaging here. If I force someone, because I can't force somebody, but if I set it up that you get all this really great stuff if you make a decision on the spot, and somebody who isn't good at setting boundaries, it's a lesson for them, but they're not good at setting boundaries, and they're like me, they don't want to miss out on any of the good stuff. So they dive into it, and it ends up it's not the right program for them. And had they taken that time, they would have said no instead of diving in, feeling that pressure. I have not created a raving fan. And right. I haven't done them a service. So I'm not always a huge fan of that, but it's a boundary. And when I'm teaching that, one of the workshops I had put out there that, for the next week, especially for people pleasers who say yes at the drop of a hat, or if you're like me and it's like, oh my God, shiny object, that sounds like a lot of fun, I'm going to say yes. And for 1 week, do not say yes. Simply say, let me get back to you. When do you need to know by? Even if it's, I need to know by tonight, great. I'll get back to you by 8. And take the time to look at your calendar to see if what you're agreeing to fits. Now, in your story, Lila, you recognized it wasn't going to fit this week. You just knew that. But how often do we hear, oh, hey, there's this thing on Tuesday. Did you want to go? Oh, yeah, sure, okay. And then you look at your calendar and you're like, oh, crap, Tuesday's already packed. How am I going to jerry-rig this to get it in there? I don't know. Somebody get out the Crisco and a shoehorn because I'm going to have to wedge that sucker in, and so I tell them, I make the suggestion that for a week, try this. And I hear, oh, from the back row. I'm like, okay, so tell me more about that reaction. And all I heard was, you can do that?
Yeah.
And this woman then shared, she goes, aren't people going to be mad? And I'm like, well, try it and let me know. Now, my personal thoughts are, if they are, too bad, because they're making it about them and not about you. So, pound sand, people. You want to
work with them anyway.
All right. So about 2 weeks later, I saw her at another event, and she's like, oh, my God, I did what you told me to do. And I'm thinking, what did I tell her to do? I'm like, well, did I have bossy pants on one day? What did I tell you to do? She goes, oh, at your workshop, where you told us to tell people, let me get back to you. I want to check my calendar. And she's like, you know what? It worked. I'm like, awesome. She goes, and even better, she goes, not a single person was mad. How fabulous. And I did encourage people, it's like, if you're feeling a little weird about it, because sometimes when we're practicing, if we're not accustomed to taking time to respond, feel very uncomfortable or awkward, it's taught them to say, you know what, I know that this, especially if it's like a project somebody wants you to be involved in, around here there's like 8 billion, and that's probably only a slight exaggeration, of nonprofits locally to get involved with. And so, of course, everybody wants you to be on the board, on the committee, helping out, coming to the events. And there are only so many hours in a day, right?
Right.
And there's only so much energy and money that one can donate to these 8 million organizations. And it can be really tugging at the heartstrings. So especially if it's an event like that, but really for anything except a coffee of, hey, after this meeting, do you want to go grab a cup of coffee? Okay, you're probably going to have to decide that one on the spot. Outside of that, simply say how important this project is to you. I want to be able to let you know that if I'm in at 100%, because I don't want to let you down, and this project's also important to me, and I want it to be a benefit to the project so that I can really put all my attention there. So let me get back to you to just make sure that it really is going to be workable, so it's a win-win-win. When do you need to know by?
I love it.
I think people appreciate that. I'd rather have somebody tell me that than tell me they're going to do something and then flake out, push it off, make excuses, just right there. When do you need to know by?
I did that with a program. I guess I don't even know what to call this thing. They train you. They train you in their whatever, and then you go facilitate workshops on that topic, that thing.
Okay.
So I was super excited because I had an actual conversation with the founder of the company, and this is a book that I read and I loved, and it changed my life, and I was using techniques from it with clients, and so I was like, yes, let me in. And even though I was like, yes, let me in, I told the founder, let me sleep on it, and I will give you an answer tomorrow. I'm really excited. I want to say yes. I want to make sure that my yes is a yes.
Nice.
And he was like, I respect that. I was like, good, because this is a lot of money.
Right? Well, and even if it's not something that's not a lot of money.
Yeah.
If the person doesn't respect that that's what you need to do for you, it might not need to be a yes anyway. Maybe it does, but it speaks to where that person's focus is, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that focus is on themselves, the project, the organization, the whatever it is, their own agenda. And not that that's a bad thing, because that, we're two-legged and that kind of tends to be how we operate. And it's still okay to take that time. Now, if it's something like, Lila, your initial illustration, where this person's like, okay, the program starts Monday though, so if we could, Monday, Sunday, whatever. So if we would really be best. Well, then it's a great opportunity to make a choice. Well, okay, let me try to squeeze it in. Or then it's simply a no. And not from because you're pressuring me, so screw you, I'm just going to say no, but because you just know it's not workable for you right now in this moment. That's all, right?
Absolutely. So one thing that came up just now is with decisions. I think one of the things that has shifted for me, what the rest of the world may not know, is that when we are not recording these calls, I am always looking at my inner landscape and weeding. So I am like, what beliefs don't serve me? What thoughts don't serve me? What actions don't serve me? What can I do different? So my relationship with making decisions has been shit most of my life. I'm like, I don't want to think about this. Here's somebody else have my power. It did not work in my first marriage. It typically does not work. However, most recently, I have been redefining my relationship with decision making and getting really comfortable making my own decisions, getting really comfortable with people being angry with me, because we don't typically have to get comfortable with people being happy with us and loving us. Sometimes we do if we're not used to being loved, but for the most part, it's the emotions that we deem negative that we have to get comfortable with receiving from other people. And so, if this Facebook friend who I haven't actually connected with in a real way in over 5 years is upset with me because I told her I don't have the bandwidth to meet with her to decide whether or not I want to join this program or not, is upset with me, I'm okay with that.
Right.
Perfectly fine. Not really going to change my life. Now, if my enjoyable other is upset with me, if the person that I sleep next to every night and share a home with, and if they're going to be upset with me, I may want to think a little harder about being like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, but I'm doing this anyway. Doesn't mean that I might not do that, but it means that I'm going to give it more consideration.
Definitely has a different weightedness to it. Yeah. Well, and sometimes then it's easier to find a compromise too. It's like, well, this doesn't work for me, but I also want to make sure your needs are met. So what can we do? Versus a random peripheral relationship online. Yeah.
So, and I realized after I said that is like the difference between like me making a decision for me and then me making a decision that is going to affect us. So sometimes we make decisions that include other people and their input is imperative. But sometimes, a lot of the times, it's a you decision. It's a me decision. And I wasn't even comfortable making those on my own in the past. So I think that shift has been pivotal in me being able to just say no thank you.
Well, I'm not certain, but thinking that maybe some of our next calls would be taking the piece that you brought up about working on your internal landscape, or maybe that's a longer sign up and get on the call. Because I think that's, I know you do that and you've got a lot of really great tools for doing that. I know for me, it's the NLP tools that I tend to use to do that. And I think that getting clear on our inner landscape and working on those pieces, for anyone who's been tuning in who are like, I suck at saying no to people. I think that's, or I say no, but then I feel all this, for a week I obsess about, did I make the right decision and are they mad at me, and overanalyzing every little thing that comes out of that person's mouth. Then, oh my God, did they say that in a snarky way? Are they still harboring resentment? Are they mad? Are they, to the point where you're obsessed to distraction? I think that could potentially be a really great next step kind of call.
I like it. I think so.
I also would love to get some people on the call who might want some support and actually do that as an interactive call. So we might have to set that one up as an actual workshop. What?
Love it.
Who wants to come play, people?
Yes, come play. It will be great.
And it's okay if you say no, we won't judge you.
There will be no judgments. Well, I don't know if that's true. You won't know about the judgment, though. We'll be judging you silently.
Know that they said no.
We won't know that you actually said no. It's true. We'll be silently judging you from our unicorns with our fairies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah. Because it takes that. It's great to talk about, let your yes be your yes and your no be your no. And I think that that's an important conversation. And I think your illustration was a perfect one to notice what used to be chatter, chatter, chatter wasn't. Because, wow, that just paints the picture that you have huge shifts. And great. Now let's actually get in and dig in with people and do that work and look at what can you do to start changing that landscape if no's still feel challenging to you.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think we open it up to both genders, but we might also have to do a call at some point on the whole and include it in there, and men, you'll be fine. How your cycle plays a role. Yes,
oh my goodness, yes.
Right?
I'm not excited about that at all.
No, me either. Yeah. I guess we could. No, that's a oh hell yes call.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah, that sounds great. We will create it, and then you guys have to come. Well, you don't have to, right, but we will create it, and then we would love for you guys to come.
We would love for you to come, and we know that if you build it, they will come because they said so in the Field of Dreams, and that was set in Iowa, and that's where I'm from. So, ta-da!
and because it'll be fun. Because there will be,
my brain works.
There will be my obnoxious giggles, and there will be all of the Naomi awesomeness. I just had an adventure getting to sit down on my pillow. You should have saw that. Wonderful.
Wow. See, we'll have to do this one live. We'll have to do that video on Zoom. Awesome. So I think this is a good place to end this. And yes, people, if you are having a challenging time with no's and you're like, what is this inner landscape crap you guys are talking about? Pop a question below. Ask away. If you've got some things that are coming up, some ahas that you see, patterns for yourself, pop them in there. If you've got other things you want to share, ask. Pop them in the comments. We are happy to come back and assist and answer. And if you've got, I don't really want this public, send either one of us a PM. We're happy to help.
Yes, we are. Have a great week, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.